A year ago, Jude Bellingham was the most exciting player on the planet, Real Madrid's savior. The kid who arrived at the Bernabeu and didn't just succeed, he conquered. 23 goals, winner after winner after winner. At 19 years old, he wasn't just playing for Real Madrid, he was Real Madrid. And then, almost overnight, the magic disappeared. The goals stopped, the performances faded, and suddenly the same player who looked destined to win a Ballon d'Or started looking ordinary, invisible even, and nobody could figure out why. Some blamed Mbappé, others pointed to injuries, tactics, pressure, bad luck. But here's the truth, it's deeper than any of that. And what happened to Jude Bellingham is one of the most fascinating falls from grace in modern football. Because this isn't a story about a player losing his talent. It's a story about how everything around him changed, and how the system that made him a superstar became the same system that made him disappear. So what really happened to Jude Bellingham? Let's uncover the truth. Let's rewind to the beginning. August 2023. Jude Bellingham steps onto the Santiago Bernabeu pitch for the first time as a Real Madrid player. The weight of 100 million euros on his shoulders, the number 5 shirt, Zidane's old number, on his back. And the expectations? Enormous. But here's the thing about Jude Bellingham. He doesn't shrink under pressure. He thrives in it. Within weeks, he's not just playing well. He's carrying Real Madrid, late winners against Getafe, braces against Girona, that iconic ice-cold finish in El Clasico that sent the Bernabeu into absolute delirium. Every week it felt like Jude was writing his name deeper into Real Madrid folklore. By the time the season ended, he'd racked up 23 goals across all competitions, 23 from midfield, at 19 years old. In his debut season at the biggest club in the world, he wasn't just a midfielder anymore. He was a phenomenon, a goal scorer, a game changer, the future Ballon d'Or winner, according to half the football world. Real Madrid had found their new Galactico, and he wore the number 5. But fast forward to now, the 2025-26 season, and something feels off. The goals aren't coming like they used to. The dominant performances are rare. Bellingham still shows flashes, but the aura, the inevitability, it's gone. And people are confused, frustrated even, because how does a player go from that to this? Well, the truth is it's not one thing, it's everything. Let's start with the elephant in the room, or should I say the French superstar in the room, Kylian Mbappé. The most anticipated signing in world football finally happened. Real Madrid got their man. The dream front three, Vinicius, Mbappé, Bellingham, was supposed to tear Europe apart. On paper, it looked perfect. In reality, it changed everything. Because here's what people don't realize. When Mbappé arrived, he didn't just join Real Madrid, he shifted the entire gravity of the team. Suddenly, Vinicius and Mbappé are the main men. They're the ones getting the ball in dangerous positions. They're the ones expected to score. And Jude, he's no longer the focal point. He's no longer the guy Real Madrid builds the attack around. Think about it. Bellingham's first season at Real Madrid was designed to get him into goal-scoring positions. Those late runs into the box, arriving unmarked at the back post, ghosting past defenders, that was the blueprint. That was how Madrid played. But now, with Mbappé demanding the ball, demanding the spotlight, demanding goals, there's only so much to go around. Rodrigo's felt it, Bellingham's felt it. The hierarchy has changed, and Jude is no longer at the top of it. And let's be real, this isn't a criticism of Mbappé. He's doing what he was brought in to do, but his arrival created a ripple effect that completely altered Jude's role, his freedom, and his output. But it's not just about who's getting the goals, it's about where Jude is playing, and this is crucial. In his first season, Bellingham was essentially a false 9 in midfield. He had the freedom to roam, to attack, to arrive late in the box like a ghost, and finish chances before defenders even knew he was there. Ancelotti gave him license to be wherever he needed to be, and it worked. This season, he's deeper, more controlled, more restricted. The tactical setup has changed. With Mbappé occupying those advanced spaces, Jude's been asked to sit deeper and contribute more to the build-up. He's playing in a more traditional central midfield role now. Structured, disciplined, necessary for balance, sure, but it's killed the spontaneity that made him so dangerous. Those late runs into the box, harder to make when you're starting from deeper positions. Those goal-scoring chances, fewer and farther between when you're not the one the ball is being funneled to. Jude's still involved, don't get me wrong, but his influence has shifted from the final third to the middle third, from decisive to supportive, from scorer to enabler, and for a player who thrived on being the guy, that's a massive psychological shift. Then there's the midfield itself. Real Madrid's midfield has always been crowded with talent, but this season it's become a puzzle Alvaro Arbeloa is still trying to solve. You've got Tchouaméni, Camavinga, Valverde, Arda Güler, and Bellingham. All of them are elite, all of them wanting minutes but fitting them all together. That's where it gets messy. When you pack the midfield with that many bodies, space becomes a premium, and Jude thrives on space. He needs room to run, to operate, to make those driving runs forward. But when the midfield is congested, when there are too many players occupying similar zones, his effectiveness diminishes. He's not a player who excels in tight spaces. He's not the guy who'll drop a shoulder and weave through 3 defenders in a phone booth. His game is built on athleticism, timing, intelligence, and all of that requires space. Take that away, and you take away a huge part of what makes Bellingham special. And we haven't even talked about the physical side yet, because here's something that doesn't get mentioned enough. Jude's body has taken a beating in his first season. He played an insane amount of football. For Real Madrid and for England at the Euros, barely had any rest. And this season, injuries. A shoulder problem that's been nagging him, a 2-match suspension that broke his rhythm just when he was starting to find it. You can't underestimate how much momentum matters for a player like Bellingham. When he's in rhythm, he's unstoppable. But when that rhythm gets disrupted, whether through injury, suspension, or tactical changes, it's hard to get it back. And this season, he just hasn't had the continuity he needs to hit top form consistently. Oh, and let's not forget, opponents aren't stupid. In the 2023-24 season, Jude caught teams off guard. They didn't expect a midfielder to be that dangerous in the box. But now, every team that plays Real Madrid knows exactly who Jude Bellingham is. They know his runs, they know his tendencies, they've watched the film and they've adjusted. And here's where it gets uncomfortable, because there are whispers now, quiet conversations among scouts, analysts, coaches. They're asking a question that would have seemed ridiculous 12 months ago. Does Jude Bellingham have a weakness? Defenders are marking him tighter, sitting deeper to cut off his runs, tracking him when he tries to drift into space. What worked in his first season doesn't work as well now because teams have adapted. And that's the harsh reality of football at the highest level. If you can't evolve, you get figured out. Watch him when the game gets tight, when defenders swarm him, when there's no space to run into, no room to breathe. He doesn't glide past players like Toni Kroos used to. He doesn't manipulate the ball in a phone booth the way Iniesta could. His first touch is good, but it's not elite. His close control is solid, but it's not magical. And when you strip away the space, when you take away those explosive runs, what you're left with is a very good player, not a transcendent one. That's not me saying he's not talented, he absolutely is, but there's a difference between thriving in open space and dominating in chaos. Bellingham built his reputation on the former, and now teams are forcing him into the latter. They're packing the middle, closing the gaps, daring him to beat them with technique alone, and sometimes he can't. Look at the matches where Madrid have struggled this season. Jude's been there, working hard, covering ground, but he's not influencing games the way he did in his first season, not bending matches to his will. And part of that, maybe a big part, is that he's being forced to play a style of football that doesn't suit his strengths. But here's what makes this whole thing even more brutal: the expectations. Because in the 2023-24 season, didn't just raise the bar for Jude Bellingham, it launched the bar into the stratosphere. Think about what he did. A teenager walks into the most demanding club in world football and becomes their best player, scores in El Clasico, drags them through Champions League nights, finishes the season with 23 goals, and people genuinely debating whether he's already one of the best midfielders alive. That's not normal. That's not sustainable. That's the kind of season that happens once in a career, if you're lucky. And yet, because it was his first season, everyone assumed it was the baseline, that this was just who Jude Bellingham is now. A goal-scoring machine in a midfielder's body, the new face of Real Madrid, Ballon d'Or, inevitable. So when this season started and he wasn't doing that anymore, when he went a few games without scoring, when he had performances where he was just good, not great, the knives came out, social media turned on him, pundits questioned him, suddenly the same kid who could do no wrong was doing everything wrong. And I'm not sure people understand how crushing that must be. You're 22 years old, you've just had the season of your life, and instead of being allowed to grow, to develop, to have an off day without the world collapsing, you're being held to a standard that even legends struggle to maintain. That's what Jude Bellingham is living through right now. And honestly, the fact that he's still standing, still contributing, still fighting, that says more about his character than any goal ever could. Now look, I know what some of you are thinking. He's still getting paid millions. He plays for Real Madrid, cry me a river, and sure, there's perspective needed here. But if we're talking about why his performances have dipped, we can't ignore the mental side of this, because football isn't played in a vacuum. It's played in your head as much as it's played on the pitch. That might be the most underrated part of Jude's struggles this season. There you have it, footy fans. We have come to an end of the video. Let us know your take in the comments. We'll be reacting to the best responses. If you want more daily football content that hits harder than a prime Roberto Carlos free kick, make sure you're subscribed to Noah Footy. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.